Hey guys, we're at the market. Let's get some grub for dinner tonight. We're at the Red Barn here in Esquimalt. It's one of those classic places that are kind of scattered all over the city now. They support local wherever they can. It's owner operated locally, which is right up my alley without question. So we're gonna be heading in, get some pork butts, maybe a shoulder, see what they got tonight. All about that pulled pork sandwich. We're gonna make some killer sandwich yet again this week. Stay tuned. Okay, so now that we've picked up our provisions, it's time to start putting together some what's gonna smell and taste an incredible pulled pork sandwiches for dinner tonight. So we're gonna really jack this up. We're gonna have a lot of fun. I know my attire doesn't look normal. I'm never wearing a hat. I'm up and out of the house by 6:30 with the dogs. We're out at the beach. We're doing our thing. Came home, dropped them off, fed me, out to get groceries, which you saw at Red Barn, and now I'm home. I haven't had a chance to have a shower or anything, so I got my Spider-Man shirt on and my Harley Davidson hat. Spring is now finally here, which is awesome. So this is really a bit of an ode to summer, right? Sitting on the back deck, pulled pork sandwich, and just loving it. A couple cold beers sitting in the sun. Jackpot. That's exactly what today is all about. So we're gonna go old school. We're gonna use the slow cooker, which is great. In the wintertime, we use it a ton, and now in the spring, why not have an opportunity to take care of that? So why don't we just jump into this? This has got to get in, plugged in, get to temp for probably about 4 or 5 hours, maybe longer. Really, we just want that pork just to melt. We want to pull those strands and develop some beautiful flavors in there. So I've gone ahead, already done my mirepoix. Again, carrot, celery, and onion. Just a rough chop. It's going to be there for quite a while. It doesn't need to be all the exact same size, so don't worry about it. Not a big deal. Get it in the slow cooker. So let's build the base and just get that fired in. Okay? Just that simple. That's the great thing about these slow cookers. Just go for it. So we've got a beautiful pork shoulder, great size. Again, with something like this, if I'm going to bother going through the effort to make something, buy more. Right? When it's all done, put it in a poly bag, try and get as much air out of that thing as you possibly can. Throw it in the freezer. Bam, we got lunch for another day. Maybe it's on a Sunday, you've done a bunch of yard work, you're starving. Pull your pulled pork out and away you go. So I'm gonna do a nice spice mix or rub on this. I basically just took my entire spice cabinet and threw everything in a bowl. Not quite, but kind of close. Looking for a couple specific flavors. So obviously we got paprika in there. We've got onion powder, garlic powder. That's going to add a little something to it. We've put in some really nice, rich brown sugars in there as well. I've also put some fennel seeds in there and a bit of tarragon. I want that licorice flavor just in the very back part of your palate to come out because we got to put a killer slaw with this, and we're going to get to that killer slaw in a little bit. So yeah, just a bunch of stuff, a bit of cayenne pepper. I've already talked about the paprika and just some other odds and sods. I don't know if it's a really big deal. Everybody's got their favorites. I don't have a favorite. I just grab stuff and go for it, whatever kind of suits my feeling at the time. So I'm gonna take this and we're gonna go all over the shop with this thing, right? We want to encase this thing, give it a nice rub. That's why it's called a rub, because we want to rub all those flavors in there. And don't be shy. Get in there, make a mess, no problem, right? Pretty inexpensive with herbs and spices these days, so that's gonna work just fine. Again, let's get all the way around. Okay, look at that, emptied the bowl already. There we are. If you're interested in the bowl, I made the bowl in pottery class. Can't wait to get back. A little shout out to Clay Kitchen Brigade, which I haven't done in quite a while. So this is it. Pack it in. Don't just mash it in, right? We want all those flavors just to do what they gotta do. That's it, right there. Oh, look at this little flap. Let's put some in there. Okay, beauty. That's that into the slow cooker. Okay, now that just did a quick little tidy up. I was trying to figure out what am I going to put in here for some liquid. We need some liquid in here because we need that steam generating, and that's what's going to help break everything down and really make that beautiful, scrumptious pulled pork sandwich. So what do I? Chicken stock, beef stock, could make a pork stock. What's the point? As I was saying before, it goes good with a beer. So right, grab a beer from on top of the fridge, and let's fire that in. That'll be a nice base for us. I think right now it's about 10:15 our time. Might as well finish this beer off. Maybe a little bit early. I'm also going to put a bit of barbecue sauce in here. So while I was at the store, Spirited Mickey, just a great looking bottle. It's kind of fun. Dark and stormy spice mix. So we're going to get some nice flavors of ginger in there and things along those lines. So I'm going to crack the bottle. I'm not going to put it on top. I'm just going to gurgle some in onto the sides. Some onto the front. There we go. That's it. So I'm going to save the rest of this. So what we're going to do, once we get all that moisture in here, so we're going to get a bit of liquid. So when this is done, I'm going to strain that off, and then I'm going to reduce that sauce to sauce consistency, and then I'm going to start jacking up some flavors on there. So really the next step, let's grab the lid, turn it on high, Bob's your uncle, away we go. So while this is doing its thing, as you can see, I got my Harley hat on. It's time to get on the big pig and go for a ride. All right, so just got off the bike, about a 3-hour ride, which was awesome. Like I said earlier, today really feels like the first day of spring. So instead of my Spider-Man shirt, I got my Harley shirt on. I always ride with a long sleeve Harley shirt. I still have my Harley hat on, and that's for obvious reasons, because I got friggin' helmet head, right? Anybody that's on bikes knows what's going on. So our pork butt, slow cooker, probably about 4.5 hours. The house smells ridiculous. It's so awesome in here right now. So we're going to start working on some other components. As I said, we're strained off our stuff. We're going to be making sauce, and all of that's kind of happening right now. So pork butt right here. It's got 2 forks in it because we're gonna tease this. We're gonna fork it out. We're gonna do our thing. So I've already strained the sauce. Sauce is on the stove. We're gonna do a heavy reduction on it. Probably slam in a bit more barbecue sauce. But now it's kind of time for the slaw. So we're gonna do a celery root here. We're gonna just do a couple little tricks on this one to just help you out a little bit. This is a super underrated vegetable. Celery root and fennel are actually some of my favorite vegetables, even though we don't have them at home very often, but they're delicious. So we're gonna start with our celery root. It's just that, the root of the celery. Pretty straightforward. Anyway, so let's get to cleaning this up. So nip off the top and bottom. Okay, those can go off to the side. And what you're gonna see here, you can see a ring. You got the outside skin, and then another interior ring. What we're gonna utilize that interior ring is that's what we're gonna carve with our knife. We're gonna take off those parts. So just nice and easy all the way around. And then you can start seeing that ring on the inside. So keep going around. And it's a root vegetable, right? So all root vegetables are gonna have that interior ring. All that is it's a protective layer for the root vegetable. We want that off. It's just gonna be a little bit bitter, and it's not gonna be quite as tender as the rest of the vegetable inside. So just give that a little nip, and there we go. We've got a very nice looking celery root. So now what we wanna do is we're gonna have our mandolin. And let's see if this is gonna fit. Almost. So let's do quarters. Not a big deal. So now we've got our mandolin, and we're gonna have it fairly thin. We're just gonna do a super fine julienne on this, which is long skinny strips. Always use the guard. I can't stress that enough. Right? Just always do 2 or 3. Double check to make sure, yep, that's kind of the thickness that we're going for. Okay? And just rip through all the rest. Might be a little bit too thin. First ones really didn't give me an idea as to what's going on. So now what we want to do is we're just going to build these stacks. Okay, just a few of them. I'm not going to run you through this whole thing. I'm going to end up turning this off and finishing up. Anyway, a couple stacks. Now what we want to do is just run really thin. Nice long strips. Okay? Here we have a super nice julienne. Okay, we had a nice julienne here. I'm not adding in the rest of my components into this because this is a very specific kind of part in our dinner. And so I've got some Himalayan sea salt. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna heavily salt our celery root. So toss it in. So salt, really what it's gonna do is it's gonna start extracting moisture, right? So and that's essentially what we want to do here. I don't want to use just straight raw celery root. I want it to lose some of that moisture so it becomes a little bit more flexible, a little bit nicer on the tooth, but it still keeps a bit of that crunch. So toss it around. Pretty straightforward. Next, into the fridge for probably 2 hours, and then we'll end up squeezing out the liquid, and that's going to go right into part of our dish. So a couple different ways that we can get to our pulled pork. You can just grab a couple forks and just start going at it. Try and just separate as best as you can. The other thing that you can do is you can let this cool down a little bit and just jam right in with your hands. I think if I had some kind of latex gloves, I'd probably give that a go. But I don't, and I don't want to burn my hands because it just came out of the slow cooker. So just nice, these bigger pieces, stick your fork in and just pull back on the other one, and you can start seeing all of this separation now happening within our meat. Oh my God, this smells so good. This is ridiculous. And because I'm the chef and nobody can say otherwise, I get to see if this actually tastes. It does taste really good. We haven't even added seasoning, proper seasoning. That rub was super tasty. And we haven't even added our sauce yet, which is reducing. So that's it. I'm just going to keep working this. And we'll just getting closer to having supper, right? Right on. Okay, so we're going to continue making our slaw here. So I've got a bunch of little components here that we're going to throw in. Remember earlier we were talking about the celery root, celeriac, whatever you want to call it. So it's been nicely salted, and you can see that it's not quite as firm as it was. So just gather what you've got, and you can do it in different amounts. But there's that liquid coming off, right? So the longer we leave it, the more liquid's going to come out. Okay, so we don't want this into our slaw. We still want our slaw to be quite crunchy. So that's what we get. So now we're left with the celery that's a little bit softer. It still has a nice crunch to it, and obviously a little bit salty, but that's going to be super good. So I've already shredded up a carrot. Pretty sure you guys didn't need to watch me shred a carrot. So that's in there. So fire that in. Celery is in there. So next we're going to do our fennel. So I've already taken a bulb. I've chopped off the top and cut it in half. I think everybody knows how that works. But I do want to make sure that we're getting the core out. So just a nice easy triangle and lock that off. Okay, straightforward. Next I'm going to cut it in half again, so it's actually into a quarter. Back to our trusty mandolin and start running it along the side. So now we're getting these really nice shavings of fennel, and that's what's going to be going in. That's kind of our base. It's the oven preheating. Dinner's getting close. Okay, look at this. This is going to be great. Could be a little bit smaller, don't really care. Fire all that in. Okay, again, because it's the base, let's do this whole half. Let's put that in there. Watch the fingers. Okay, there we go. A couple big pieces come out. everybody in the drink. And we got a couple pieces here that we can deal with later, not a problem. Next, we're gonna want some apple. Let's make sure we're staying clean, right? Cleanliness is next to godliness, I keep being told as an apprentice. I'm not gonna need this whole apple. I did buy a Granny Smith's, so green Granny Smith apple. It's got a really nice bite to it. It's nice and crisp, and it's gonna really hold up for what we're looking to do. So again, back in our mandolin. Mandolins they're literally a lifesaver when it comes to doing this kind of stuff. This fine work. Let's run it through. Hit the second one. Just like that. We've got lots of beautiful sliced apple. So line them all up, stack them, not line them, stack them up. Put them in stacks that you're comfortable with. You don't need to go crazy and overboard. Okay. At the end of the day, we don't want your fingers in our meal. Okay. So now, just nice julienne. Okay. Hit those stacks. Viola, just like that. Okay. Oh my God. Perfect. Perfect. Just what I'm looking for. And now we got everything here ready to go. Next is the dressing. Okay. I'm typically a bit of a mayo-based kind of dressing guy when it comes to making some slaws, but I'm gonna add a couple extra things into it. Again, just grabbing what we got in the fridge. It's not gonna be rocket science by any stretch of the imagination. So let's hammer in some mayo. I want to cut it with some sour cream. Okay, it's gonna add a little bit of acidity to it, which is gonna be nice, and it's gonna help thin out that mayonnaise consistency, which is gonna be great. I'm not making a ton, so we don't have to get too crazy with it, but I do want some lemon, okay? So again, back to our rasp that we love using so much. Let's get some fresh zest. And we can throw some of the zest right in with the slaw as well. It doesn't have to just be the dressing, but everything is gonna end up in the same spot anyway, right? So there we go. Got some lovely zest. Let's fire most of that in there with the dressing. We'll just give the rest just a little bit of love inside. Okay. Let's get that juice in there. We can hit the rest of the juice right into our dressing. Not a problem. And we can give that a quick season. Both the slaw, which you don't need much because I've already salted the celery root, right? Bit of pepper. Get that in. And I just need a pair of tongs. Okay, give this a quick mix. As you can see, the consistency, it's not super thick, and that's what we're looking for. I don't need much flavor. Really, the flavor is going to be coming in with the ingredients that are already in there. Those need to be the stars of the show. I am going to finish this off with some chives, which will be super tasty. Just a quick zip. I'm going to be fairly liberal because I'm going to want a little bit of that heat coming off the onion, right? There we go. These little bibs don't really care. There it is. Bit of chives. Oh yeah. Beauty. Let's throw our dressing on. Bloop, 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 bloop. It's always better to put less, because if you add too much, then you can't get rid of it, right? I am going to use my tongs this time just to start spreading it around. And just a nice, crisp, fresh, like I said earlier, today really feels like the first day of spring, and this is my kind of ode to spring. Our back deck is all set up. I did some of that after I was finished on the motorcycle, and dipping in between the kitchen and talking to you guys and putting supper together. That's it. Fennel, celery root, chives, carrots. That's a slaw. All right, so pulled pork, we already went through all of that. Slaw is ready to go. We got our sauce reduced, which is awesome. And I just want to do a little cameo with my boy here, Bosco. Some of you guys definitely know who he is. Some of you don't. He's an 11-year-old plothound. He's the man for sure. So I've actually had some friends go, "We know the videos, how come I never see Bosco?" George is in them as she's sneaking around. So these are two of the loves of my life for sure. Obviously, Kara's the big one, but these guys we rock and roll and have a lot of fun. So when I say when I'm out with the dogs in the morning, those are the two bozos that I'm out with. So to reheat this, not going to do anything crazy. Let's just throw on some medium heat. So our sauce, you can see the consistency of it, and that's the beer that's in there, the barbecue sauce, and then obviously the stock and all the fat that came off the pork. So, right? Look at that. Rock star level right there. So this is not going to be enough sauce. So that's why I didn't use all of our little Mickey here of barbecue sauce. So let's jam some more in here. So it's just straightforward. Let's just bring it up to a simmer. We want to get it nice and hot. And that's it. We're literally, I don't know, 5-10 minutes away from chewing down. Okay, game time. This is it. So pulled pork, nice and hot, slaw, nice and cold, and a little treat on the stove. So let's just put this together. We've got some beautiful buns from a bakery here locally in town called Portofino. Just unbelievable bread. All their bread is fantastic. So shout out to them. We also have a gluten-free from a company called Care. From Care. Good product. Care for Cara. So that works. So typically, yes, we're always doing gluten-free at home. But when it gets an opportunity for burgers and fun things like this, you know what I'm saying, right? I want all the good stuff for me. So we're not always gonna go gluten-free. So, but we do have a couple different products that we're using. So anyway, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Chef, whatever. Shut up. Let's just load this bad boy up, right? Pulled pork. Look at that sauce. Put as much as you want on there, as little as you want. Makes no difference to me. Don't really care. Okay, let's slam that with some slaw. Look at that. This is gonna be insane. Well, I don't even know how I'm gonna eat this, but you guys are gonna have to watch me take the first bite as we always do. Don't go anywhere and eat the last item. Yeah, that's right. The game changer right here.
Don't drop it.
This is it.
Ta-da!
Right? We got a fried egg on here. Oh my god. I didn't even know what's gonna happen here. So let's put the lid on there. That's it. That's it. I'm gonna cut this in half. Let's see what this thing looks like. Already a hot mess. It's already a hot mess. Yeah? Yeah. Perfect. So that's it. That's dinner tonight. We got some taters in the oven. I'm gonna have a quick bite. Everything that you think it is, it's that and more. Let me tell you that. And I probably got some stuff dripping off the side of my face, which I'm totally okay with. Love you guys. Stay safe. See you next week.